Good morning, everyone. This is a great opportunity for me and for you today to listen to a trainer that has great experience in the work that we do in AEGEA, and that is in what we refer to as the direct sales or network marketing industry, and in the health, specifically the health industry of that in AEGEA's product alignment. And this gentleman is someone that shows tremendous experience in the skills that are necessary for doing business in this manner with AEGEA. As a leading direct sales company leader, we have him on the call today. His name is Frank Mueller. I'd like to just give you a minute or two about him. But first, I'd like to tell you something about myself so you'll know why I'm even here for the moment to introduce him. Many years ago, I was a Boy Scout. Then I had an opportunity to go before the draft board because of the Vietnam War. There I was reclassified because I had a wife with a child and she was pregnant with our second. When they found that out, they reclassified me, and the moment that I stepped aside, the young man from my high school stepped up and took my place in front of the desk. They drafted him. About 8 weeks later, we're in church, and they announced his death already in Vietnam. That shocked me into a place where whenever I meet someone who's been in our military, serving our country, I tell them, thank you. And I'd like to just start my introduction with this gentleman, Frank Mueller, with another thank you, Frank Mueller, for your service to our country and protecting us and helping us maintain our freedom in this world so we can have this kind of opportunity today with AEGEA. So without further ado, this man is the man that's going to train you today on things that you can do to become successful, sharing the AEGEA opportunity with your friends, your relatives, your neighbors, your strangers, and upcoming friends that you will meet in the future. And his leadership in this is superb, and we're happy to have Frank doing the training today. So, Mr. Frank Mueller, would you please take it away?
Well, I appreciate that, Mr. Keith Bradford. This is going to be a little bit different training than what we've been doing the last few weeks that I've been able to share with everybody. And I am very glad that everybody did show up live here today, and for all the people that will listen to this later on. Today, primarily, we're going to talk about the products, not as a doctor or a research scientist or anything, but to share with you what these products have meant to us, how they have worked for us. And we have several people lined up, and we have some people online that I haven't talked to that I hope will also share at the end when we open it up, like Dr. Joe and some others that have a lot of experience with our products. We do have one person lined up that we have to get to pretty quickly because he's actually taking time away and walking away from his job, that job, or called Just Over Broke, so he could spend just a few minutes talking about some of the results and things that he really likes about the AEGEA products. This is an individual I've known for, heck, I don't even know how long. It's got to have been at least 15 years or more. And for the very first time ever, we were actually able to meet him in person, my wife and I, down in Atlanta back in September when we had that big event down there, and that was pretty awesome. Anyway, it was great to see him. It sort of draws people closer together. Anyway, he's an awesome individual, so let me go ahead and get over to him right now. His name is Mr. Pierre Carpentier. Mr. Pierre, how about sharing with us just for a few minutes? And I know you're on a phone line and not on a Zoom meeting, so that's okay.
Okay. Can you hear me, Frank?
Yes, we can.
All right. My name's Pierre Carpentier. I'm in Kansas. Like Frank had mentioned, we've known each other over the phone for probably 16, 17 years maybe. Did a few ventures together. Some panned, some didn't. You might, if you were at the pre-launch, you might remember me as the guy on stage with the plunger on his head, just to give you an idea. Basically, the reason I got into AEGEA, quite honestly, was Frank and Terry Mueller. They They've always done right by me in the past. They've always been very personable, and everything that he's said or done, he's done from the heart. And quite honestly, I believe everything that we've gone through together. He sent me the information, and I had known a little bit about energy from another business venture I had looked into but did not participate. The product sounded sound. Frank told me his story, and quite honestly, that was all it took. I talked to him that evening, and I joined right away because of the results he had and the products themselves. And with that said, that part of the reason I was in the business is at the time he had called, it just so happened that I'm a bread person, have been now I deliver bread for like 25 years. And at that week, I had twisted my back and had been in pain for like, 3 days. And I was doing the pill popping thing, trying to relieve it, and it did not work. And normally it did, but this time it did not. So that week I'd gotten my products, and Frank told me where to put them. I put one on either side of my back, and within 3 days, the discomfort I'd had gone away. I continued using it just in case, because you know how the doctors tell you, finish out your pills and let them run their course. And quite honestly, I haven't had to use them on my back anymore. I do use them consistently every day because it helps my energy level. Everybody that's around me can attest to that. And it's just makes me feel better generally. And, some people ask me, like, kind of said, well, how do you know it's working? Well, last summer, when I got to thinking, every morning I wake up and I used to just put on my shorts or my pants, and I'd stand on one leg, but I'd have to lean against the bed or hold the wall to get the other leg in, so I was out of balance. But after I start using the patches, they ended up, and I didn't realize this except several, weeks later, and I'm going, I don't have to hold on to anything anymore. I'm more centered. I mean, I stand there now like a flamingo and put one leg in and put the other leg in. And it's like, that's something subtle that I didn't even know about. And I used the quantum card. When I first got that, we did all the little tests that I had heard on all the calls where people say, wave it over your coffee. It takes the bitterness away. That was the very first thing we did, and it did. They said, wave it over some of your foods. It makes it taste different. So we did that, and it had some barbecue wings. It took the vinegary taste out and made it a more mellow taste, better taste. And different things that everybody has said to try, I try them. And every time I've tried them, they work. So yeah, I'm a big believer in the products. I swear by them. I tell as many people as I can, some more than others. But some of the attributes are far outweigh anything that anybody tells you differently. Like, you just have to try them, honestly, and do anything that anybody wants you to do as far as a test, because you'll find out that those tests are real and it works for you too. One other thing that really sold me was my wife has issues with giving blood, and she has like collapsed veins, so she hadn't been able to give blood out of her arm for 20 some years that I've been with her. And she had a quantum card, and she had to go give blood for a follow-up on her doctor visit. And she had stuck the quantum card in her bra strap while she was getting ready to go to the doctor, get her blood drawn. And she texted me a little bit later that same day, and she goes, yeah, I just had my blood drawn. And which I knew she was going to have that done. And she said, they got it out of my arm with one stick, not 5 like they used to do, trying to find something in her hand or something to that effect. And she said, the only thing I can think of that I did different is I had that quantum card in my bra strap. You know, and the quantum card helps improve your vascular system and gives you more blood flow, makes your veins more pliable. And so she was just blown away by that, and so was I. And that's kind of my story. I do believe in the products, and I think whoever's listening should try every little thing, even if you go on YouTube and check out some of those things, because they do work. And with that, I'll hand it back to you, Frank.
I appreciate that, Mr. Pierre, taking some time out of your busy schedule and work schedule and all of that good stuff. And, you know, we're going to talk about these products. There's going to be more people here that are going to do it. And some of them are going to be overlapping. They're going to talk about some of the same products, but they got different results. And that's what I wanted to sort of press with you all today. So the next gentleman I would like to bring back on, you heard from him in the beginning, Mr. Keith Bradford. He's an individual that, you know, we met a long time ago and we can't remember where. We had both tried to figure it out. But when I got busy in the business, I had his contact information, and he was one of the people that I called. And you know what? He turned 74 years old in the first 90 days that I got reacquainted with him. And he actually turned 74 on his way to Platinum Elite, which he did and accomplished in less than 90 days. And he's had some great things because of these products as well. So let me just turn this back over to Mr. Keith Bradford for a couple of minutes or so.
Well, thank you, Frank. Listen, hey, it's no big deal about having a birthday in 90 days. While I was with AEGEA, at my age, they come every 90 days, the birthdays. So, and I am currently 74, and I'm so proud that Frank called me. This is the blessing that I got, that Frank finds my phone number and a name attached to the phone number on a list of some kind of list, I don't know, and he dials the number. And I answered the phone, to which it rings, and the same number for 30 years, fortunately, gave time for Frank to have me on a list some many years ago. And that's how I get my introduction. What does that say? It tells you Frank was working. Hey, hello. That's what it told me. Frank, you were working. So you were a person who was working at this opportunity. That's somebody I want to listen to for a minute. And I found some wonderful things about the products. Frank was the one that helped me understand the value of the quantum card. And I really appreciate Pierre's testimony and use of the quantum card. He kind of stole my thunder because I had planned to really go in depth on that. But you know what I can do? If you just hear what Pierre just said and duplicate it again in your mind or in your notes, then you will hear basically what I wanted to say about the quantum card, except to add that this brochure I'm holding in my hand right here is what the quantum card came in. Now look, this brochure covers all these points that Pierre is speaking of. If you see them, look, they're listed right there at the bottom of this wonderful brochure that really opens the mind up to receive a blessing from the use of the quantum card. People are so skeptical, their mind is closed. You've heard it many times. The mind is like a parachute. It works best when it's open. Well, people are skeptical. They're so skeptical they cannot learn. In fact, they'll tell you if you listen, no, I don't need any more information about that. Now, that's a blanket statement that people have learned to use. Hey, one of the things that, have you ever known people that seem to have an answer for everything? They've got an answer for, you've heard that, that person has an answer for everything? Well, hey, I was raised by a father. My dad had an answer for everything. You know what it was? It was no. And that's the way people are today in the marketplace. I'm a salesman, have been for over 50 years. I've learned to sell products. I've learned to sell, hopefully. I don't want to ever say I sell people. I let them buy. I hope I can present the right information so that they can make a buying decision and make a decision. Not put it off and procrastinate with their doubts and try to find other reasons not to buy. And that's what we are facing in this marketplace. And I just think that some of these training calls should have a bit more of that kind of training, that we understand the market we're talking to today. Their mind is what we've got to have opened. Why is their mind so difficult to open today is just obvious. And it's not their fault. And they're not bad people. But your friends and my friends are beat up. And they're skeptical. They do, like Pierre just said, they need time with the products. And they need to use them again and again. And we don't know. Everyone is different. And we don't know how many days it will take the relief patch to really do its full work for that individual. Do we, Dr. Joe? You know, it takes maybe 21 days, which would be many changes of their patches to reach that point where it has this opportunity to manifest in their body and do the changes that it can do. The same thing with the dadgum, the nitro card, the nitro patch. Can you feel nitro going into your body from the patch? No. Do you know it instantly? No. It takes a week or 2 or 3 or a month. My gosh, if you're old like me, it may take a year to clean up all the mess we got in our bodies. My God, look at the chemicals we've been eating and breathing. And I want to tell you guys something. Information is always so important. And like Pierre, I can tell Pierre is a student of these products. He's a student of the literature, of the information he's gotten from Frank and everybody else in the training calls. He's not just I heard him say that. No, he studies it from that point. This is an introduction to some thought. That's what we've got here on these calls, folks. I'm on fire today. Can you tell it? I got a good night's sleep last night. I slept 2 days in a friend's house in his apartment on a leather couch with no sheets while he was still in the nursing home where he was trying to be discharged so I could take him to his apartment. Why did I do that? He's a good friend. He's also an AEGEA associate. He's also got a quantum card, and he's 2 years older than I, and he's got Parkinson's disease. He needs a quantum card for balance, for his walking exercises, and he can't get that if he's at the dadgum nursing home. He wants to be at home living with his AEGEA card and getting a walk around his apartment building that he's been doing for 2 months since he got the AEGEA card. Is that big enough testimony, folks? Wake up, huh, Joe? I know Dr. Joe's over there. He's got guys up there in the Yankee land. They said, oh, well, it worked for a few days, but I don't know if it's really working now. Well, dumbass. Oh, did I say that? I'm sorry. This is South Louisiana talking again. Pardon me for that. Bleep that on the recorded call. Anyway, folks, today is the first day of the rest of my life. I'm so excited that I've got Frank Mueller as a friend and a sponsor in AEGEA. And I've got this great AEGEA company as a place to spend some time, get some positive information, to get some encouragement for my life, and to live it on with all the battles that we're all fighting daily, folks. We need all the help we can get. And we need better blood circulation and improved cardiovascular, blah, 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 all these technical things that Joe knows over there. Maybe he can talk with you more. That's about it. Look, dig in and start getting educated. We've been dumb to death too long in America, folks. I'm going to turn it back to you, Joe.
Well, I think that you're turning it back to Frank, but you just had Joe on your mind.
Well,
so.
Joe, Frank, I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's a great thing. And I do see Joe up there, and I was wondering if Dr. Joe, who I've known and heard from now for months on these calls, if you had a testimony or two that maybe you could share with us, and then I'll wrap it up with mine.
Hey, thanks, Frank. Can everybody hear me okay?
Sure can.
All right, great to be on the call. I'm very excited about the products. I'll tell you, I have 2 dogs. I have a shelter dog. Ginger's probably about 16 or 17 years of age, developing some arthritic problems, less energy, can't even jump on the bed like she used to. And then I have a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel that's 4 years old, but develops seizures, and he takes a seizure pill twice a day. And usually he'll get a seizure twice a month. Now, when I put the pet products on Ginger, the older dog, all of a sudden, within 3 to 4 to 5 days, Ginger could jump on the bed. All of a sudden, Ginger has a chip to its beat when it's walking. All of a sudden, Ginger has a little more energy. Ginger's more wide awake. That pet product did that for Ginger. And we see that every single day with that dog. Now, the Cavalier went about 5 weeks without a seizure. 5 weeks. We haven't witnessed that in 2 to 3 years. Now, of course, we still give him the seizure pill twice a day. And darn it, Theo had a seizure one or two nights ago. We were shocked. I was shocked. But the bottom line is, it does take a while for these products to work. But for this dog to have 1 seizure in 5 weeks, that is tremendous progress. So that's a pet testimony. Okay, let's talk about a person testimony. Let's talk about a woman who literally a year ago, actually less than a year ago, I'd say back in like September, October, a patient of mine came to the office. I had done a little oral surgery on her. She came back, was impressed how I took care of her. And I asked her, how's your body pain? I mean, she has significant discomfort in her entire body. I can't name the diagnosis. We don't treat diagnosis here. But I put the card on her foot. I put the patches on her body. And 45 minutes later, she comes walking down the hall. She goes, Dr. Joe, I realized that you were special, how you took care of my mouth, but I didn't realize how special you really were. Her symptoms in 45 minutes to an hour went down by 50%. So I sent her home with a card. I sent her home with some of the patches. And that was about maybe 10 o'clock that morning. The next day, when we got to the office, I have a chiropractor, Dr. Al, who's actually on the phone, Dr. Al Masucci, who actually runs my pain management practice. Al comes into the kitchen. I said, Al, we have to call Linda. And right away, the staff person came back and said, Linda happens to be on the phone. And I said, oh my God, I hope she's doing well. I hope she didn't die, you know? And I said, Al, go take that call. He comes back 10 minutes later. He said, you wouldn't believe it. I said, believe what? He says, her symptoms, her total body discomfort, her foot pain, her knee pain, her hip pain, her finger pain, her toe pain has gone away by almost 100%. Now, the other thing that happened was she shared her card that night with her fiance who had leg swelling, like thrombophlebitic swelling of his leg. He put the card on his leg that night and his pain and his swelling went completely down. Now, she's been using these products ever since. I get a text, I get an email, I get a call every once in a while, how happy she is I introduced her to AEGEA products. So that's my testimonial for today.
Hey, I really appreciate that, Dr. Joe. I do. Those are awesome. In fact, you know, that sort of your dog story sort of reminds me of my dog. I have 2 dogs, actually. One's 16 pounds, and she's a mixed breed terrier-looking dog, and lightning fast, 8, 9 years old, great ears. Nothing's wrong with her. I mean, she's nothing wrong with her. However, I have a big Fila Brasileiro, and most people don't know what that is, but he was 155 pounds. He was designed to hunt jaguar originally and protect the big ranches from wolves and big cats and that kind of thing, and also the 2-legged dogs way out in the middle of nowhere. Anyway, with that being said, he runs around and has a good time, and every once in a while, because of his size, he'll sprain a leg, and he'll come in hopping. Well, long before we had the pet quantum card or pet card, we used the quantum card, have him lay down and just wave it over top of his entire leg. And, you know, dogs don't lie. I mean, people can mistell you something, but animals, when they respond, they're responding for a reason. And after about a minute or so of just fanning the card over top of that leg, turns around and looks up at you like, what are you doing? You know, do it another minute or so, stop, go back a couple minutes later, do it again. All of a sudden, he may be limping a little bit, but he's up following me around again. You know, and after a couple of days of that, he's no longer limping. So now the neat thing is they have their own little card, you know, that you don't have to figure out how to put your card on. You now have a little tag that you can put onto a collar, and there they are. They're off and running. Now, as far as other uses for the Quantum card that we have found that we use it for, besides for my dog Jimmy, is Terry and I both love that card. We carry one with us all the time. We sleep on it at night in our pillow. It helps Terry significantly with her sinuses. She's had a really bad issues with those for years. She's even had the surgery since she's been down here in Florida, and the card does more for her than that surgery ever did. The card itself, for me, is been a blessing because I think it really does help and enhance the both the nitro and the relief patches that I wear on my back. You see, being in the military for over 20 years, and I was a guy that was running around with a green beret on my head and jumping out of airplanes and landing in trees and falling out of trees and all that stuff. Anyway, I cracked my back 3 times, and the last time I crushed the bottom 3 vertebrae together and herniated another disc. So I had some significant discomfort. So I've used actually 2 of each of those patches on either side of my lower back where those discs are crushed to get to the point where I don't have really any discomfort there. Other than maybe, oh, it's a little stiff, maybe when I wake up in the morning, but we're all getting older, that's going to happen. But it's not painful. It's not the knife stabbing me in the back that was there a year and a half ago. So that's a great thing. And you know what? They tell you if you're using it just for your cardiovascular, because you don't have any other issues, to put them up around your underneath your shoulders or whatever, that's all fine and good. But if you have them anywhere on your body, I don't care if it's on a bad knee, I don't care if it's on your back, whatever it might be, you're still going to get that kind of help as well. It's not just the one thing. I will tell you, we have found another use of that Nitro card, and it's in conjunction with the Freshness card. The Nitro card, if you'll get, and I buy flowers for my wife a lot, and I always have. And the thing is whether you spend $5 on them at a grocery store or whether you spend $75 from ordering from Pro Flowers, in about a week, what do your wives do? They take them and throw them away, right? Because they're shot. Well, what we found is we get fresh flowers in. We cut the bottom inch or so off the bottom like you're always supposed to anyway. But the water that goes in the vase, and I'm using a glass vase, we run the water over top of the Quantum card into the vase. We then also put a little water into a cobalt blue mister bottle, okay? Now I'll tell you about that in just a minute. Take your flowers, put them in the vase, take the vase and set it on top of the Freshness card, okay? That's all you gotta do. Once every morning, I have this little mister bottle. I mist all the flowers. You know, this has saved me more money than I ever spent on these products, because now it's not uncommon for them to last at least 2 weeks. I've seen my wife keep flowers 19 and 20 days. Now that's pretty awesome. I mean, if it just doubled it regularly, that is a huge savings of money for me. And I don't have to buy them quite as often, you know, because if she goes a week without flowers, she feels bad. Anyway, we also have the Freshness card in the pantry. We keep our bread there on the middle shelf. So we have the Freshness card that sits in that on top of that. And it takes care of the entire pantry, all your dry goods, all your chips and cookies and all of that, keeps them fresh. We have one that's stuck in the refrigerator in the middle drawer underneath the veggies, keep them fresh. And, you know, what's interesting is we're not milk drinkers here. My wife does put a little milk in her cereal every morning that she eats. And what we had to do was to buy the half-gallon size because it would go bad before she used it all. Well, I was at the commissary one day and I said, you know, I'm going to try this, and got a fresh gallon of milk. Now it takes her twice as long to go through it, and it was still good. And it costs, what, about 25% less when you can buy it in a gallon versus buying a half gallon, right? another way that these products save you money. And we also have that Freshness card right now on the counter that we put the vase on for the flowers. It sits right next to a basket where my wife keeps fresh fruit at, and it keeps the fruit there much longer and with less rot or damage to it. So we've had some really, really great ways of not only feeling better from the use of these products, but for actually saving money. And I wonder if people ever approach others and ask them if they'd like to save some money on their day-to-day uses. And of course, the last thing I got to tell you about is the EMF Shield. Do I know that it's on there? Yes, I know it's there. Do I know that it's working? I'm assuming, because all the other products work the way they are, that the EMF Shield works, because I can't feel it, but I know if it's like any of the other products I've been taught about, that it works. I also have two of them on the either side of my smart meter on the outside of the house. I mean, so I believe in these products. I think everybody who spoke to you today believes in these products. And I know we're coming up here on our time. It's 11:32, and we really try to keep these to 30 minutes long. You can't give your mind more than your derriere can survive, so to speak, you know? So we do appreciate everybody for coming on and sharing their testimonies and spending some time with us. And y'all have a fantastic day, okay? Take care, y'all.
Hey,
Bye-bye.
thank you, Frank. Thank you, sir. Great training. Joe, Dr. Joe, thank you
Love
all.
the stories. Stories sell. Facts tell.
Great job, Frank.
Thank
Thanks, everyone.
No,
Good job. Have a good weekend.
thank you.